Hey guys, it's me, Eerie Gamer here, and today we are back with another thoughts video on drip marketed characters who might be coming out in future in maybe 1.3 as well. This was earlier July. For those of you who don't know, all these posts has already been posted on HoYoLab, the official Honkai Star Rail page as well. We have here Imbibitor Lune. He has been said to be a 5-star imaginary destruction character, and also two other characters, Fu Xuan, who is a quantum preservation character, also 5 stars, and the last character is Link's 4-star healer abundance character already that has been announced, and it's going to be of the quantum element. I've already talked about Link's in another video. I think you should check that one out if you're interested specifically in her. I think she's going to be pretty interesting to think about in terms of team compositions she's going to drive around. But the main question that I guess a lot of us are wondering, especially if you're sitting on the fence of maybe 1.2 characters currently, Blade and Kafka, maybe you don't super love either of them, or you're waiting for a future character. This video is really meant to address something that I think is growing more important as the day goes by. We don't talk about leaks on this channel because we want to be very compliant with the terms of use set out by HoYoverse as well. It's just very fair to them as well. But the biggest thing, and I think it is very important for community members to know, especially this early, especially if you are haven't put on any of them yet, haven't put on Kafka, haven't put on Blade, and you're thinking of whether you should actually save your resources. What is my thoughts? I do know the certain information that has been floating around, but I won't comment on it. And let me just give you a TLDR. I think out of all 4 characters that we have, like Fu Xuan, Imbibitor Lune, as well as the 2 characters, Kafka and Blade, in my opinion, Fu Xuan is the one that attracts me the most, and I'm not talking about design. For those of you who know me in my content, you're regular viewers, you know that I like Kafka a lot. She's one of my favorite characters in game, but I think that Fu Xuan likely is going to be a very solid addition to any roster, probably, especially since she's also a preservation class here of quantum element. So let's talk about stuff that we know, and then we can hypothesize about stuff we don't know. We start off with Fu Xuan first, and I'll talk a bit about Imbibitor Lune in a bit. So why do I think Fu Xuan is good? Officially, we know that she's of quantum element, and is also of a preservation class. Quantum elements means that she will fit very well with Zealer teams. She will even fit very well with Lynx in the same team. So you can have Lynx, you can have Fu Xuan if they were on the same banner. You add in Zealer, you add in Silverwolf, or maybe you don't use Silverwolf and you put in, for example, Ting Xue. So you have 2 5 stars, 2 4 stars, and it's going to be super strong in terms of the amount of stuff that you can combat. You have a full quantum team. If you have Silverwolf, you can drop in weaknesses on enemy too. That you could even run a E6 Ting Xue as the main DPS for this team composition. I think that is one of the biggest reasons why it's very attractive for a quantum character. You could even run, who knows, if she does damage in her ultimate ability, you could run her break effect and stuff like that around those lines, so that she does more from the offside position or a defensive role position. But beyond that, quantum is one thing aside, and one of the reasons why I think she's interesting, but more so is her preservation class status. Being a 5-star preservation class means that for any of us who don't have sustained characters, maybe we skip Luocha, who is currently, in my opinion, the best character in the game right now as of version 1.2, first half, as I'm talking and making this video. If, for example, Lynx is coming up in 1.3, who knows whether it's going to be first half, second half, or whoever's banner is on, but we will have access to 2 more sustained characters in the future patches, which is made known to us Abundance character, 4-star Lynx, we already talked about her in another video, and also Fu Xuan, a preservation 5-star. This means for those of us who don't have Luocha, you don't have Bailu, you don't have Japat, you will find a lot more options in the sustain aspect of things as well, meaning you can guarantee a very solid sustain character. And if certain information is true, I do think that this character will be very attractive for a lot of teams moving forward. I really do like the characters. For whatever reason, I'm not going to mention officially, but I just want to put it out there beforehand in case any of us want to make decisions and are planning for the future. This is the character that you want to keep an eye out for. I think it's worth thinking about or keeping at the back of your mind, whoever you are planning to pull for in future. But that aside, let's talk about Imbibitor Lune, and we can speak about official information only from what we know. We did see a little bit more of his design as well as his gameplay, if it does stay, based on the story quest in 1.2, so that's not unofficial information or anything. So far from what we've seen, like even in 1.0, there was the Luo Ta story quest with Dan Heng and Su Sang as well, and they showcase Luo Ta's basic attack as well as skill. So I do think that more or less like the kit of his is going to stay the same going into official launch. So we can take that kind of like that into the official analysis that we are doing. And I think the biggest thing about Imbibitor Lune is he seems like he's going to be a solid main DPS potential character. Being imaginary and destruction class, he does play well into a lot of current team comps. You have the free Yukong, which a lot of us got from 1.2 in the new memory, the Xianzhou Luofu memory of chaos domain that we saw too. So you have a dedicated harmony buffer for him already. Other than that, of course, if you're playing with other imaginary characters like you're playing Luo Ta, you have Silver Wolf, you can play like a full imaginary team on its own. Very solid, in my opinion, could be a main DPS, which doesn't really have much alternatives right now, because other than maybe Welt, we don't have a solid imaginary damage dealer, and destruction is definitely very interesting. He does have quite good gear for him already. You can use like Secret Vow, you can use for example Clara's Light Cone if he's drawing or taunting aggro, but we'll talk more in terms of like specifics once the final numbers and official information is finalized. Right now it's all like hypothesizing, and I don't want to hypothesize too much because it's not going to be very useful, especially if things change or talking about things that are not even going to be there, not validated as well. And that's why I don't really like to talk about leaks, another of the reasons, other than of course it being against the term of use. So that is my thoughts on Imbibitor Lune, and let's compare real quick, especially now with like the current characters that we have in the game, which is of course Blade as well as Kafka coming out at 1.2. Both of them have alternatives, and I'll just put it out straight up to all of us. If we compare, for example, to Fu Xuan, who are her alternatives? Japat, maybe healers like Luo Ta, like Bai Lu, because they are defensive characters. If we just take that into assumption, we don't like factor in any other things, you guys can check out the comments below if you want like more details on anyone debating. It's not going to come from me. So, but she has no competition. He also doesn't have any competition in a sense because it's imaginary, the only imaginary destruction damage dealer that we have. In fact, probably the only imaginary damage dealer. Welt will be more like a support kind of role, or even a more AoE natured DPS character. As for these two, you have Jingyuan, you have Serval, you have Ireland, many good lightning characters already. If you don't care too much about DOT, Kafka likely will not add significant amount of difference, especially if you really have a very well built Jingyuan with its signature light cone. Lightning more or less is like settled for your account. I don't really see a case where DOT is like super necessary. And for example, Blade here, you have Sampo, you have Dan Heng. We recently just did a comparison video of Blade as well as Dan Heng. You can check that out if you're interested from like the exact details as well for the differences between like these two characters, who does more damage. So even though you like miss Blade, you miss Kafka, there are alternatives in the game that exist, and I think that is the key reason why this question that I have in my head, like, are perhaps 1.2 characters like baits for 1.3 banners and beyond, because it seems that 1.3 banner, Fu Xuan, if it does become these two, and Imbibitor Lune, these are two extremely strong or extremely niche banners that currently not in the existing setup, and that does make me think whether Hoyoverse is doing it on purpose. I do get the feeling that 1.2 might be just to let us empty our wallets based on very popular characters that we currently know as of 2022 and the CBT information too. I'll definitely be doing more content on both Fu Xuan as well as Imbibitor Lune when more official information is out. Check out this thought video on links and why I think that she's actually worth looking out for. Otherwise, check out this other video right here. Thanks so much for watching, and see you in the next video.